From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In tonight's recording direct from Santa Monica, California, we go over that incredible recon that will put you in the water looking beautiful with a significant other. It will also bring you to the finish line. But for tonight, we go over the CR for stimulus, which is running to the finish line potentially faster than the recon. And why are millions of Americans so excited about that CR for stimulus? What does it mean? What does it mean for you? I have all the incredible news direct from Santa Monica, California tonight with this incredible push to get money out the door and a push to get stimulus in your hand. It's all tonight with breaking news across the board. We'll go over the big recon that passed in the House in the month of November and the big checks that would be added to it in the month of January in the Senate. But we're not done there yet. We're going to go over the incredible checks that are in that incredible recon, and that will be added to there on top of the $15,000 of checks. MSC, among them included. $2,000 of that first month, $1,000 thereafter. Plus, third stimulus, the big money added in there as well. Then we'll be turning to student loan debt forgiveness, the offer across that, and fifth stimulus, what you need to know. But we ain't done there yet, because CR for stimulus came out of nowhere with a proposal from this channel in just the last few hours, and viewers have resonated overwhelmingly to bring it on back. It's CR for Stimulus 2022, and tonight's recording, we go over why millions of Americans are so excited to get this done, and what does it mean for you? I have all those details and more. It's a big, bold, beautiful Evenings LA, and I'm excited for you with the breaking news with Chuck, Bernie, Joe, and me. We have a new set, a new look, a new set of audio in case Sirloin eats the audio again like he did this morning. All those details and more as a big, bold, beautiful Evenings LA heats up direct from Santa Monica, California. I'm excited you're here as Evenings LA gets underway, and the excitement starts right here, right now, with all the incredible money on Evenings LA. Hey, good evening, everybody. Here we go. The recon passed to the House of Representatives in November, now in the Senate, with Senate changes coming across the board with a push to add in an MSC. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and Joe Biden saying he wants to send out the checks. He's ready. I have all the latest details tonight with the $15,000 that are already in there, the $45,000 on top of that, the student loan debt forgiveness, and fifth stimulus right behind that. There's a lot in tonight's recording, folks. Plus, we'll be turning to the talk of the land, what everyone is speaking about, what everyone is referring to. It's CR for Stimulus 2022 edition. And tonight we go over why millions of Americans have turned to this channel, because we did it in 2020. I proposed it 24 hours ago, and viewers said, run with it, LALATE, run to the finish line, and we're ready to rock and roll. A February deadline approaches, and another CR. Can we get it done a second time? We're going to make a valiant effort, and let's see if we can get it done. A stimulus check into another continuing resolution bill that would be voted on before the fourth stimulus recon. Oh boy, let's try our best. All those details coming up tonight in tonight's recording. I'm excited you're here. But first, I want you part of this incredible channel that's making history day in, day out. It's the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America. You're watching LALATE. Go into this video, subscribe. And thank you for the incredible subscriber growth in the last few days. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or a Calcino VIP. We have a lot tonight, folks, in tonight's major recording. In tonight's recording, we go over the incredible money of this incredible recon, and we're going to go over the 3 clusters, the 3 add-ons, and the CR for stimulus. But first, we're going to go over the first checks in this incredible recon that all amount to at least $15,000. $15,000. Yeah, there's a lot of money in the Build Back Better Act, aka the recon. At least $15,000, but you're gonna see very quickly and maybe upwards of $60,000. Here we go. Let's go over the checks. Cluster number one, hasn't paid, got in there. One more year for my essential workers. There you go, the earned income tax credit. Learn about it at irs.gov. It's currently law on the third stimulus. They propose to do it one more year. $4,000 of elder care, $4,000 of care for young children, $500 checks for the Pell Grant for my college students, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, and money to repair the home. Wow, that is incredible. The first add-on of checks comes from the incredible Maxine Waters here from Southern California. She wanted to give you $25,000. She got a little bit less. This is money for your first home given from the federal government to the seller in your name at the time of escrow. It's huge. It's absolutely incredible, and that is the first add-on of checks. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. We got a lot of checks in tonight's recording, folks, and we're just getting started. That second cluster of checks is huge. Has in there home repairs and paid leave. Paid leave is a lot of money. How much is it? $1,700 a week. $1,700 a week. If you make $70,000 or more per year, $35,000 annual salary, it's $800 a week. If you make $15,000 annual salary, it's $400 a week. Who gets it? W-2, 1099s. You all get it. But if you don't work and your son and daughter does work and takes off from work once a week to take you to the doctor's office, they're going to get the check as well, up to 4 weeks per year. It's huge. The then incredible money that follows thereafter is the second add-on of checks. It comes from the incredible Bob Casey. He got it in there as a campaign promise from Joe Biden, $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. It's absolutely incredible. That big money is a covered benefit, and it brings us then right into our third cluster of checks is where we find a true deliciousness. Let's look at that third cluster of checks with all the big money starting right now. That third cluster of checks has in there seniors and free internet. The seniors and free internet, let's look at those money right now. The free internet, independent contractors got money, then the farmers would get money. Then free school meals for all checks. Seniors would get covered benefits. 2 in there so far from the House. 3 to be added on the Senate side. The House got in there the Medicaid gap fix, more about that in a second, and then the Senate, and also the hearing aid. The Senate just vowed to add in their dental, vision, and also lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, which tees us up for really the most exciting part of this Greek run. The third add-on potentially of checks, MSC. You know what it is. What does it mean? How much is it? Who gets it? What's the advocacy? Where are we? We're going to go over all those incredible details starting right now. First, what is an MSC? It stands for Multiple IRS Stimulus Check. It's different than the multiple checks in this recon, of which there's many that pay about $60,000. This is one instrument when they're sent out from IRS. Okay, who gets it? The Senate, since the month of May, said that the eligibility would be the same as a third stimulus check. That means that single individuals, $75,000 or less, you would get it across the board if that's your annual income. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you would get it as well. Double it. Family of 4, you would get a quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or relevant benefits, you would get it additionally. What's important to know is some of the nuances of this check, these checks as well. These are monthly checks. The M that stands for monthly or multiple. And that it's not income, it's not taxable, it's offered nationwide. So don't worry if you don't like your governor or your senator. This is money coming from the federal government. And this would mirror how third stimulus is done. All right, that brings us then to the question of how much. They have talked about $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months across the board. Adult dependents would also get it as well. There you go. Now, why is it important to advocate? Advocate because guess what? These legislators may have heard from me before, but it's a different year, it's a different month, and there's a lot of different things going on. And those senators are there to represent your interests, but they don't know you need it until you remind them. Pick up the phone once a week and say, I need it. Tell them why you need it. Maybe take a note of the senator staffer you speak to. So every time you call once a week or once a month, you say, hey, it's me again. I need to tell you additionally why I need it. This channel is the biggest place of advocacy in the United States. Don't let anyone diminish what we have done, what you have done. American Petition's great, good, 3 million signatures. Us, 9 million phone calls. where we've been on the phone 30, 40 minutes of phone call and telling why we need it. We're not signing our signature to someone else, something else someone wrote, and just taking 10 seconds to put a signature to something. We're actually on the phone speaking to a staffer. Now, let's go over the importance of who you advocate to, and then we're going to go over where the body of legislation is right tonight, the new comments from the White House, and the CR for stimulus. We got a lot coming up. First, who do you advocate to? You want to pick up the phone and advocate to the following senators because they have your interests and have always had your interests since the month of May. You want to advocate to the following senators: Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Advocate by picking up the phone and speaking to their staffers and telling them why you need it. Again, Casey, Coons, Warren, Wyden, Sanders, and Schumer. Tell them why you need it, your family needs it, your community needs it. Do not, repeat, do not pick up the phone and say, is it in there? Because there does not exist. There is no Senate bill yet. The fact that a House bill passed, great. The senators vote on a Senate bill. They don't have the Senate bill yet. So don't pick up the phone and ask if it's in there. Now, here's what you need to know. Where is this legislation right now? It's called the Build Back Better Act, the Forced Stimulus Recon, the Social Spending Bill, a lot of different names, same body of legislation. It's in the Senate, passed in the House, but it's on holding mode at the moment. And that holding mode means that the senators didn't get to add their provisions in there. Bernie Sanders, Ron Wyden, Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, among the senators say, I got a lot to add to this recon. That event has not occurred yet. It will occur shortly. When it occurs, they'll go to a Senate subcommittee, and the Senate subcommittee will start adding provisions in there. They're not going to remove provisions out of that recon. The provisions that were written on and covered on this channel in 2021, this thick. I'm going to go over in the second half of this video. Stay with me. We have a lot of money coming up. That's the forced stimulus check updated 2021. All those checks are still in there. 2022, they're going to add additional checks, not water down the checks. Senate subcommittee. Call for a vote then on the Senate subfloor. Then the two-day vote-a-rama. But that would take a little bit of time. Not months, but not a few hours either. And in the second half of this video, we're going to go over an exciting body of legislation that became history because of me and you in 2020. And in 24 hours ago, I proposed to bring it back for 2022 and do it to get out a stimulus check while we're waiting for the forced stimulus recon to become law. Can we do it again? Can we win again? We're going to learn about what it is and how we're going to making a push and how viewers are absolutely excited about it. It's coming up in the second half of this video. Plus, we'll be going over the new comments from Chuck Schumer, the new comments from Bernie Sanders, and the new comments from Joe Biden about getting the recon done. We're going to go over one guy who's really causing a little bit of friction for the recon. I'm not talking about Joe Manchin. There's a new guy. If you haven't heard about him, I'm going to go over the latest details about him tonight in tonight's recording. Then the second half of this video, we're going to go more about over each of these incredible checks and this incredible recon. We have a lot of money coming up in the second half. We'll be turning over to the thousands of dollars you can get as well. And don't need to wait for forced stimulus to become a law. You can get it right today. Those details and more coming up in the second half as Evenings LA continues. Be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as evening's LA heats up in the second half. That Senate changes to the incredible recon. The Build Back Better Act will be robust with a push to put in an MSC. Joe Biden's ready to send out some checks. $15,000 of checks are already in that recon, and the MSCs will be on top of that. There's already $45,000 of third stimulus checks repeated under fourth stimulus. All the latest details on that. Student loan debt forgiveness, what's going on, and fifth stimulus. Those details coming up in the second half of this video. But we'll be turning to the exciting details of CR for stimulus, where legislators have the opportunity to get a stimulus check out to you sooner than later. That's why it's so attractive to millions of viewers across the board. It's not the Build Back Better Act, it's another body of legislation, and it's right around the corner. If you haven't heard about it, it's coming up in the second half of this video. It's a creation only of LALATE. Then we're going to turn to the exciting comments from Bernie, comments from Joe, comments from Chuck, and the comments about one guy that may be causing friction for the recon. All those incredible details as we go into a big, bold, beautiful evening's LA with a new look, a new set, and a new, $12 ice cream. No, it's still the same $12 ice cream. And they all heat up right now, but first I want you, part of this incredible family, go under this video right now and subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you, part of this incredible family, hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. You're watching LALATE, the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, whether it's broadcast TV, cable TV, or internet TV. Thank you for watching and finding this channel. Subscribe so you do not miss a single video across the board and across the land. And with that, we go into the big second half of tonight's video. So much details direct from Santa Monica, California. Let's go over everything you need to know starting right now. Back in 2020, we were looking at a very tense situation when Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary at the time, were negotiating what was supposed to be the second stimulus package. It continued and continued, and they couldn't get it done starting in spring of 2020, and by December 2020, we were just exhausted from it. I was, and I said, enough is enough. Get a stimulus check into something else that really has sort of a time crunch to it. And I looked around and I saw, oh, there's this continuing resolution, CR, that has a time crunch to it. The time crunch was the CR is to fund the federal government. You don't fund the federal government shuts down. I said, what a brilliant idea. Put a stimulus check in the CR. I said, you like the idea? I went on air. I said, let's try it. Hashtag C for Charles, R for Robert, the number 4, stimulus, STIMULUS, CR for stimulus. The concept is put a stimulus check in the continuing resolution because this time crunch bill, they got to get it done, as opposed to Nancy and Steve, they were just sort of dragging their feet, get it out and get it done. I made the recording and I said, Purple Power, push and get it done. I'll be the voice, you be the push, and let's do it. And immediately a reaction from non-Purple Power was exactly what I thought. It doesn't belong in there. I knew they were going to say that. Because guess what? A continuing resolution is a bill to fund the federal government. It's to give money to the federal government to run the federal government. It's not money to go out to the American people to fund their operation of their household. But I knew that's what they're going to say, and I knew I had an answer. Who cares, was my answer, because you've always done legislation where you put stuff in there that doesn't belong in there. Throughout the history of time, senators and House members have passed bodies of law that have money and checks in there that have nothing to do with what the legislation's about. During the pandemic, we saw this a lot. We saw money for COVID relief bills where it was actually money going out to foreign governments. We've had money for COVID relief bills where it was actually to build a new FBI building. We had COVID relief bills where it was money to run the Department of Copyrights. We learned about this long and thick. And I said, you know what? Put it in there. Let them do it. We pushed. Initially, they said, I like the idea. Let's do an extension of unemployment benefits for an extra few weeks. I said, great. That's not what we're asking about. We're not talking about FPC here or PUA or FPC. We're talking about a stimulus check. We got it in there. Then they took it out. Then we pushed back again. And finally, it survived. I made history. This channel made history. You made history. The CR for stimulus eventually became the second stimulus check. It was exactly what I envisioned. a stimulus check can put into a continuing resolution budget bill, and it became the $600 stimulus check that was sent out in December 2020. Well, less than 48 hours ago, I said, maybe we can do it again. Because I saw a note in front of me as I was going through all my incredible notes, which I bring on camera every day. And it was a brand new note, and I saw a new deadline, another CR. Is it so true? And it is true. Now, we all know what happens with CRs. You know, there's a deadline, but they can roll it over 30 days, but then they eventually get to it. So let's understand that deadline may be added a few extra days, a full week, but they eventually do get to it. And the deadline looked deliciousness, February 18th. That's why it resonated with viewers. February 18th, there's a government funding deadline, or the federal government shuts down. Sound familiar? It's exactly the same thing as December 2020. And my concept was hashtag CR for stimulus. Do it again. CR for stimulus 2022. Put a stimulus check in the latest funding bill for the federal government because you know what? We deserve it. We've had your back, Congress. We've waited since you've worked on this since May of 2021. We're now in January 2022. You don't have it done. We've been patient. We haven't come after you. We haven't asked for your removal from Congress. We haven't said we're going to vote against you for Congress. We've been patient. And with our patience, we need money. And with Omicron, we need money. Now, very, very briefly, it's a stimulus check. It ain't 10 stimulus checks. It ain't $50,000 of stimulus checks. It's one. Maybe it's only $1,200. Maybe it's only $1,000. Maybe it's only $1,400. Maybe it's $2,000. It's one. It doesn't replace the Build Back Better Act. Doesn't replace the MSCs, the Forced Stimulus Recon. Doesn't replace the Forced Stimulus Recon. It's just a check to cover us while you figure out how to get the Build Back Better Act done. And if Joe Biden, with falling polls, falling morale, falling problems, which I'm going to get to in a second, the White House staff, and he's going on press in a press conference late last week saying, I need outside opinion on how to do stuff. The president's asking for people to nominate people who are not in politics to give him recommendations about how to do things. Who should he be speaking to? If you go to lunch with Joe Biden this week, recommend someone if you know who that person is to recommend. If you're on the phone or you're having golf with Joe Biden, recommend someone. And I will tell him, it's very simple. Just put a stimulus check in the continuing resolution, send it out, because that will really change the landscape. Now, let's go over the other things that you need to know. First, Bernie Sanders is ecstatic about last week. You should be as well. There's two ways to pass legislation. One, never call vote if it's going to fail, or two, call vote even if it's going to fail because it helps you long term. Nancy Pelosi's school of thought is never call vote if it's going to fail. Bernie Sanders does the opposite. And last week, two bodies of legislation were called and failed, but Bernie Sanders loved it. The first one was the Voting Right Initiative, failed, and then the second one was the Senate rules, both failed. Bernie Sanders says it works, and it does work. I'll tell you why. One, if you call a vote and it fails, you know how to fix it and call for a vote again. Second, you call for a vote for fails, it has a congressional record of who in your party voted against it. This is the quote from Bernie Sanders. We've been negotiating with two senators for 5 months. This is Sinema Mansion, Bernie talking about them. And it's gotten us nowhere. So we need a new course of action. I think that what we've done is we made it clear how the rest of us are standing. Now, right now, we were playing before into the hands of the Republicans by not having them, Republicans, vote against anything. So this is the other reason when you want to call the vote, why you want to call the vote, is because you want to have a congressional record where Republicans aren't sending out the money. The record is right there that they voted against a particular provision. You take that to the midterm elections and it works. Now, let's go to a big article that came out less than 48 hours ago that really explains why your Forced Stimulus Recon has not gotten done. And the great news is that it can get fixed if the situation with this guy is fixed. The guy is not Joe Biden. The guy is Joe Biden's chief of staff. And his name is Ron Klain. And there's three major problems with Ron Klain, all of which can get fixed, and they get fixed, the recon gets done. If they don't get fixed, Joe Biden may be gone. So let's go over what's going on for Ron Klain. First, who's the chief of staff? What is a chief of staff? It's the guy who runs the White House. It's like the store manager. It's the most important guy after the president of the United States. He runs the staff. He gets the calls and tells the president who's calling and who's not calling. He's the guy who runs the general store, the White House. So the first problem with Ron Klain is no surprise to the viewers of this channel. He is horrible at prioritizing. He's absolutely awful. He prioritizes the wrong bills first that don't need to go first and puts the most important bills to go last. Case in point, climate. We come into the first week of the president's time in office, and climate's suddenly the first agenda. Why? Climate's been bad for decades. It can be bad for another week. It can wait, because guess what? The more important thing is people can't eat because they have no money for their food on their table. We don't need to fix the climate. They don't need to be fixing the air they breathe is not the most important thing. They first need food to eat. They need water to drink. And on Afternoons LALATE, I went in a little bit tough. I'm going to stay tough tonight as well. It's indifferent. It shows a lack of indifference. It shows a lack of caring by the White House. If you're really talking about the climate, the air above someone's head, if they don't have a roof above their head, let's be very frank. I mean, I'm going in really deep, but I am. You're talking about the color of the sky, and you are not focusing on the roof above their head. You really don't care about that person, do you? Or you are just out of touch. I really think they're out of touch. I don't think it's that they don't care. Here's case in point number 2. Brian Deasy, Yale graduate, featured on this channel a lot. His notion is that in the recon, which is not prioritizing, now it's prioritizing provisions in the recon, the most important thing out there is to get money to young newborn, to future children of the planet Earth in the United States so that they have a new start in life and they get great education. Good, I like it. The only problem is that they're not here yet. There's a dinner party going on, and we've all been invited, and we don't have a meal for the dinner party. And we're talking about the meal for people who aren't yet alive, that haven't been born yet. Just really, it sounds like a strange UFO series. Let's talk about people who are not on planet Earth yet and sort of ignore everyone that's here. It sounds like a very strange sci-fi movie. Makes no sense. All right, Ron Klain. This can be fixed. Go to Ron Klain's office. You're the President of the United States. Hi, Joe. Thank you for tuning in. I'm LA. Thank you for tuning in. I want to tell you what you do. You go to Ron Klain's office. You walk over to his desk. Say, what's all this junk on the desk? What is this? Put this in the file cabinet. We'll get to this in 2023. What's this? We don't need to do this. Get this off of the table. What's this? Get this off of the table. It's literally that's how I would do it. I mean, I'm not joking. I would literally walk into this desk and say, this is not important. Get this off of the table. What are you doing with this? Now, that is very easy to do. That's the first problem with Ron Klain. The second problem with Ron Klain, not so easy. Second problem is a personality conflict, and personality conflicts are always really hard to fix. What's at issue? We saw this coming in December like a Mack truck with the horn blazing on the freeway at 70 miles an hour. Pramila Jayapal, head of the Progressive Caucus at the time, was saying, I love Ron Klain because I'm on the phone with him for hours and every single day. And I said, wait a second. I don't have to be, doing a game of sleuth. Who's in the kitchen with Mr. Peacock, and I don't have to do that. I can see there's something wrong with that. Pramila Jayapal is on the phone every day for hours with Ron Klain, so she's on the phone with him for hours every day. Who's not on the phone with him? Ding, 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 ding. Something wrong with this. What's wrong with this is that the moderate Democrats are not on the phone with him. Now, that is not the extent of the problem. The problem is much worse. If you're the store general manager and you are talking to the cheese department every single day for 8 hours, and you're never talking to the coffee department in the general store, then guess what? When you go look at the earnings by the end of the month, there's no money for earnings because you didn't look at it. You ignored the coffee department. That's not what Ron Klain is doing. He's doing something actually worse. He's putting a sign at the entrance of the general store. Do not buy coffee if it comes from the state of West Virginia. Yeah. In the month of December, Ron Klain kept on issuing these press releases saying, Joe Manchin is bad. Joe Manchin is bad. Joe Manchin is bad. Okay, you're the general manager of the store and you're going after your own employee? Now, I understand he's not your employee. I know Joe Manchin is not employed, but I'm being figurative. I'm being, he is part of your party. He is part of your caucus. And you're going after the coffee department and then hugging and kissing the cheese department for hours every single day. It don't work. It don't work that way. So when you go to do your corporate earnings at the end of the month, there's going to be zero money for coffee, and there's going to be a lot of money for cheese. In the case of Senate voting, it don't work that way. You can't just do cheese and no coffee. You have to have everyone liking you. If they don't like you, they ain't going to vote for you. And that is why that has to fix itself right now. The third part of the equation is the most obvious one. Joe Biden was elected saying, I'm going to reach across the political spectrum to hug my colleagues on the other side of the political aisle. Mitch, that's you. Now, I do believe that's what Joe Biden meant, and I do believe that Joe Biden wants to do that. The only guy that's not allowing that to occur, again, is Ron Klain. Let's reenact what Ron Klain does every time a Republican calls the White House. Mr. Klain, there's a Republican on line 1. Oh, sent a voicemail. Mr. Klain, there's Mitch on line 2. Oh, tell him I'm on vacation for 5 weeks, and tell him I'm not. Tell him my cell reception is down and won't be restored until 2026. That's what he's doing. He's not allowing anyone to talk to him. All right, the third part of the equation is very problematic. We all understand that the President of the United States is perceived as not sometimes running the government. It's sort of this perception out there. And that may be wrong, it may be true, but this is what the article says. Mid-level staffers in the White House that are employed by Joe Biden says that the president's never around. They can't get in contact with him. And they can't get in contact with Ron Klain either. He's not around either. So imagine the guy in charge of the owner of the general store never comes in the general store. The owner never coming in. And then the general manager of the general store, it never coming in either. So no one can find him. Sound good? It is not good. Now, here's something new you're hearing from Evenings LA tonight, is that there's also in the article quotes from other former Democratic chief of staff under former Democratic presidents. And they said, Ron Klain, he ain't doing it right. And they said, but there's a problem. There's no one else available, and the other options are really bad. What's going on? I mean, I can't profess to knowing everything, but don't they have a department on Indeed.com for chief of staffs to president? Don't they have, on Recruiter.com, former chief of staffs are now available. Here's a salary request. They have no one else to be chief of staff. And you know what happened with the vice president. She lost her chief of staff. We know what happened in the Trump administration. His first 100 days was a mess as well. You got to get these things fixed. If you don't get these things fixed, things get off the rail really badly. And with that, what I want you to know is that the recon will become law, says Joe Biden. That's good. When Joe Biden does what he wants to do, things get done. He's great at negotiating. He's very great at getting a message out. He gave a comment to Andrew Bates to read to the American people, and the message was the recon is going to get done. Thank goodness. The message is very loud and clear that Americans need this recon, and the recon will happen. Let's go over some of the incredible provisions in this incredible recon story right now. They got in there the $72,500 of the SALT caps raised up. It's currently $10,000 of what you deduct in state and local taxes. We'll raise it up to $72,500 from $10,000. They got cheaper prescription medication in there, starting with 20 medications at day one, growing to 28 medications at year 2020 at year 2028. Medicare Part D, Medicare Part B, the most expensive medications across the board. They got $40 billion of free job training in there, just in case you need to take a new job because you're fired at the White House as chief of staff. They got in there the Medicaid gap fix, providing years of subsidized private insurance to low-income uninsured people in 12 Republican states where they vowed to never provide that insurance. They got $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, $65 a month for nutrition for millions of Americans when they're not in school. They got the housing provisions. I'll come back to that in a second. The Pell Grant $550 checks. The big money for the seniors with the dental, vision, hearing, and the Medicaid gap fix, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare on issue. And then a lot of these provisions for third stimulus coming on back. They are the provisions of the CTC, the Earned Income Tax Credit, and then the household tax credit extended and across the board as well. All those incredible provisions in this incredible recon. Now, what's important to understand when you're looking at this recon is that the housing provisions that are in there can still be bigger and bolder. And those housing provisions are so far great. They got two new provisions, and the first one is the weatherize your home. The second provision is the home repairs if you live in a low-income community. But the other provisions of recon that are in there that are continuing for third stimulus are rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. Wow, that is incredible. And no time or place to wait for that to become a law, because you can get it right today under third stimulus. Meantime, student loan debt forgiveness. There's a $10,000 offer on the table from the president. The Democrats should take it across the board. We also have the incredible fifth stimulus and that COLA raise. Your benefits are going up 5.9% this month, but fifth stimulus looks to come in right behind that and raise your benefits up even higher. First, they want to step your benefits up to get you caught up. This is you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits as well. They will remove the income cap, remove the marriage cap, remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you're going to be able to conquer all. That's what they want to add to the recon on top of that. But they want to remove COLA and use a new benchmark, and that new benchmark would be inflation. Where's inflation going? It's going to be high. I predicted it in spring of last year. I predicted it at 8% for December 2021. At the time, Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, said that the inflationary rate was going to be 1 to 2% in December. He was wrong. This is Jay Powell. Wall Street said it was going to be 2 to 3% by December 2021. They were wrong as well. My message at that moment was it was going to be 8% in December 2021. It was announced over 7 days ago. It was 7.5%. And it ain't temporary. Just like I also said, I got both things as well correct across the board. What you can do, however, is also look at where things are to predict inflation for yourself, because you should. You should understand where inflation is before I even reported in the first week of February. The way you do this is the following. When you go into your supermarket, look at the price of milk, eggs, and butter or cheese. Look at a particular product you buy every single month. Same quantity, same brand, same market. If you see it going up 10 cents one week, make a note. 10 cents the next week, take a note of that. 20 more cents, take a note of that. That will give you an indication of where inflation is going right now. What's important to know is that inflation is robust, and inflation is tied to the cost of labor. And with Omicron out of control and staffers out 20 to 40% in every business, that causes it more expensive to run the business. So if you're in a store and you like to talk, ask the owner, what percentage of staff is out? If they say 20 or 30 or 40%, you know Omicron caused inflation is hitting that business as well. And that may explain why the milk and eggs is going up more. Why it's important for you to do this is because you are able to gauge where inflation is going before I tell it to you. In the first week of February, we're reporting the January numbers. That's how we do it across the board. Coming up tonight, we have a lot of shows. Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock. Evenings Extra at 8 o'clock. And then at 7 o'clock, right before that, is our new hit show, Home Street and Stimulus. Then we go in overnights, LALATE, with shows at 9, 10, and 11:30. Then we're back next morning at sunrise with 3 and 3:30. Early mornings LALATE at 4 a.m. and then back into mornings LALATE with Countdown and the normal mornings LALATE as well. The orchids are back in the set. The flowers are back in the set. Watch the afternoon show that aired earlier today. I go over what those names of those flowers are, if you wonder as well. And with that, I'm excited for you across the board, and I want you part of this incredible family, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Heart, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay with me throughout the night as more details about CR for stimulus heats up on this channel. And stay with LA for more.